when she wants those.
So I'll give you a quick, let me give you a quick rundown too.
You gotta turn it off.
Little button on here, it should be on, but if it's not, you push that button and hold it.
Oh, wait a minute.
But if it's off, there's no display.
Yeah, well, the green means it's on. If you shut this off, this turns.
It's fancy.
So the other thing is, whoever you give it to, we gotta make sure they're holding it close. Because you can't speak into it like this, because it won't pick up. It's gotta be right up against people's faces.
That sounds great, Tom. It's perfect for us.
You must have, because,
No, I didn't touch anything.
all right, well,
Somebody hit record because it's recording.
I didn't record.
Somebody
What's
did.
going
Maybe
on?
it's. I didn't do it.
I haven't even been near the computer.
just hit got it, because it's okay, because you record the thing anyway.
Well, oh, this isn't a touch screen, I'm sorry. How do I see where it's recording? Should I stop the recording?
No,
Okay, because Coffee Klatch is starting now anyway.
it's gonna be,
So it's down here.
Right.
Pause or stop. I can pause.
you could pause it. Okay.
We don't really want to start recording until the meeting starts, right?
Yeah, but just remember that to record it. Yes, okay, you're good. All right, well, as usual, we've had a few minor glitches, but every time we do this, we learn something and it gets better. So thank you all for your patience, those of you who are here in the room and those of you who are on Zoom. I'm Jana Goldman. I am a secretary for the Benzie Dems, and good morning to all of you here in person and you guys in the little squares. We're hoping that you can hear us. I see waves, so that's a good thing. But it dawns on me that you can hear me, but you probably can't see me because I'm standing up.
We can see you standing up as well.
Well, you know, as long as you can hear me, that's fine. So we are going to call this meeting to order officially, although I'd really like to hit my computer and bang it to start to order. And we're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. So I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, someday. All right, before I turn this over to Kira, who is our vice chair and who is our leader for today, I just want to remind, if you do in the room, if you do have questions and you're using the microphone, please keep it close to your mouth. I know it might look a little strange to have this thing right in your face, but it does improve the sound. All right, Kira.
Thank you. I think I should be the fearful leader, not the fearless leader. Our fearless, our fearless leader is taking a well-deserved vacation. So, and we've had a few little glitches with our computer, as you've been told, and so we wanted to show you the advertisements that we are currently running in the two local papers, the Record Patriot and the Betsy Current, but as we still can't do that, is that correct?
No, but I can read them.
So
It's Democrats deliver red flag gun safety measures, and then it's got BenzieDemocrats.com, and then our Facebook page. And then another is Democrats deliver 15,000 highway lane miles repaired and restored, again, with the BenzieDemocrats.com and Facebook.com. So you can see the theme that we're choosing is Democrats Deliver. You're going to see that a lot. And so if you have any suggestions for other messages that you want us to include, please let us know. Thanks.
Okay, so we're putting these ads out every month in order to make sure that people know we're here, and maybe they'll want to join us or just feel supported knowing that we're here. So also I wanted to tell you that we are now this year sponsors, one of the many sponsors of the Beulah Music in the Streets. So we will be on the banner that tells all the different sponsors, and that's a great thing. So come to Music in the Streets. They're Thursday nights starting the end of this month, and that they're a lot of fun. There's dancing in the street too, so yeah. So the next announcement is about the Betsy Kofia fundraiser, which we do have a fundraiser coming up July 22nd for Betsy. It will be at Robin Jeannie's farm, which, yeah, you'll get more specific details about how to get there and exactly when, but it is on July 22nd, so put that on your calendars. We don't know the exact time yet. So anyway, Betsy, for those of you who aren't 100% clear on where the different lines are, she does represent some of Benzie County. She represents Elmira Township and Platte Township. And I happen to live in Elmira Township, so I have good representation at the State House. But we need to keep her. She's good for all of us, whether or not she's your representative or not. We need to keep her there. And she's been doing a bang-up job. So everybody mark July 22nd on your calendar. Now, the next save the date is September 30th, when we are having our big fundraiser for us, the Benzie Dems, going into the next election cycle. We are going to have a rip-roaring time at the Mills Community House. We're going to be showing The Summer of Soul, which is a movie with so many amazing artists. So apparently, I've not seen this movie, but apparently it occurred, this Summer of Soul concert occurred at the same time that Woodstock was occurring, but it was soul music. And I think it was, I think it was fabulous. So we've got 1969.
What was the date?
September 30th is when we will be having this fundraiser. And it will be at the Mills Community House in the evening. Watch for, updates. But Sly and the Family Stone, Stevie Wonder, Nina Simone, Gladys Knight and the Pips, or maybe not the Pips, I don't know. Anyway, Staples singer, yes, the Pips. I'm going to get corrected on this because people know. But anyway, it's a wonderful movie, apparently. And then we're going to have some heavy hors d'oeuvres, some libations, and some dancing afterwards to the same kind of music on that fabulous wooden floor. So put it on your calendar and bring your checkbook. Okay, and next, I am going to, pretty soon you'll stop hearing from me. That'll be good. But next, I want to tell you about the scholarship winners. So many of you came out to our scholarship fundraiser. Many of you were incredibly generous. And we were able to give 4 $1,000 scholarships to seniors. I know, it's amazing. And we've been able to increase that. 2 years ago, we gave $500, 1 year ago, $750, and this year, $1,000. And it's just wonderful because education's expensive. We know that. So anyway, we gave it to 4 different seniors graduating in this county, and I can now tell you their names. Ellie Teesworth, or actually it's pronounced Teisworth, from Frankfurt, Cale Catt from Benzie Central, Gloria Stepanovich from Benzie Central, and Brooklyn Barker. Now, Brooklyn from Benzie Central, and she made a video as her submission. And I am seriously hoping we can watch that video as long as our tech team can make that happen.
Well, from our remote office in the parking lot, Bill, whenever you're ready, if you can share your screen for the video.
Are you seeing it?
So far, no, but yes. Yep. Oh, wait, no, that's Callie
This day changed a lot of people's lives forever.
Yep, sorry,
Not that
wrong one.
My-
Sorry.
That's a preview.
That's a bright.
Hang on.
This
It's
is
coming.
where the puppets would be very handy for Kira and me to do puppets, you know?
I'm gonna make some.
All right.
I love puppets.
We'll get there. 1 second.
Well, I'll just chatter while you're doing that about the scholarship. So they were asked to.
Yeah, I'm sorry that I don't have it. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna have it. I have 2 of these and I don't have the other. I apologize.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I'm a failure. Sorry. I thought I had them both.
You know what? I will put it on, I will run it on my computer after the meeting and people who want to can watch it. It's really wonderful. The kids were asked to tell us the common, to think about the common good. And one of the questions that we gave them was about social media, because there's so much concern now that social media has really been a big negative for many young people in terms of their mental health. And many of the students wanted to write about that, or in this case, did a video about it. So it really, wow, it really brought it home to me how serious this problem is. So
Could we also post that on our Facebook page?
I have to get permission from her, but I bet I can, because she gave us permission to show it here. So, okay, on to some more parades. Jane, do you want to come up and talk for a minute about parades? Okay, so I wonder if Bill can show the t-shirts. So while he gets that, while he's
Sorry.
working on that.
Sorry, I'm failing you again. I never got that one. Don't have that.
In your inbox, no?
So
I'll look and see.
our plan B.
These wonderful t-shirts.
Let me hold while.
Can you see them, everybody? These t-shirts will be in beautiful baby blue. And
Democrat blue.
yeah, that's actually not a baby blue. It's a beautiful blue.
Right.
Yeah.
Democracy blue.
And we will have those t-shirts ready by the 4th of July. We would love if everybody who marches in the parade with us can wear one of those. And if you come to march in the parade, you may purchase one for the price of making it, the cost of $12. And we have a little, we have a pop-up tent.
Yay, Bill.
We have a pop-up tent where you can change into it if you can't get it before the parade. So $12 if you march, $25 if you don't.
Are we gonna have a sign-up sheet where people can order them today?
That would be great.
Order today.
Order
Right
today.
here.
Get them while they're hot.
Here, how are you working the pop-up? If people go over and they're wearing a shirt and then they want to put on their t-shirt.
Yeah.
If it's late,
We just literally have a tent that's about as big as you.
which you're just gonna push by the.
By the start part where we're starting. And there is also an option to ride in the parade. So, you know, if you can't walk the parade, you can ride. So don't let that stop you. Also, the t-shirts will be here when we're open, which is Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, 1 to 4, the week before the 4th of July parade. So, Jane, do you want to say something about the parade? And then, Mike, you want to talk about the song? Are they all crew
Are they
neck?
all crew neck? Is that what we have this year?
We have a women's scoop neck and then a regular crew neck. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need a microphone.
Hey, Michael, are you a large or medium?
Oh dear, he has to tell in front of everyone. Okay, Jane.
That's okay. Hi, can you hear me?
Voice from the void.
Can people hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, hi. So the parade is our biggest presence every year. And so we like to have lots and lots and lots of us to show up and participate. It's all positive. So we're asking people this year to wear blue. We're going to have, thank you to the Reverend Steve and Nate, we're gonna have a pickup truck pulling a trailer. And so there'll be plenty of seating if people need it. There's going to be live music, which Mike is going to address. We'll have, you know, when people arrive, we'll need for the beginning banner, the end banner, we've got signs to carry. Everything we have is all positive. It's all just what we are for, nothing about what we are against, because it's just, this is what we're doing right now. And
Democrats deliver.
yeah, Democrats deliver. So it's going to be all positive. We do need someone who's going to participate in both parades to volunteer to haul some cold beverages in a cooler and be available to pass them out. So I'll be needing to organize that first. The beverages are in my car right now. They would just need to be put on ice in someone's trunk that can be easily accessed at the end of the parades. Easier at Beulah than Frankfurt because it sort of oddly tails off at the end of that parade. Everyone goes in different directions. It's very strange. But anyway, so we'll have people carrying signs, banners, waving, smiling, singing, just have it. It's really fun. It is. And just go and show that we're here and we do all these great things to help us all.
What time are the parades?
Oh, Frankfurt,
Line up at 9 and leave at 10, and it's at the Graceland parking lot that you go. Oh. Did you hear that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
I can shout pretty loudly too, but okay, you can hear me. The Frankfurt Parade, we go to the Graceland parking lot, if you all know where that is. It's like the corner of M22, as if you're going to go to Alberta, and Main Street, Frankfurt. And so most of you know where that is if you've marched before, but if you haven't, that's... So we go there. I always say just get there by 9:30. I mean, officially you can get there at 9 o'clock because we usually have to do some decorating at that point. Things fall off the floats, so we will have a decorating. Janie, do you have a sign-up sheet? No. We might want to sign you up before you get out of here to commit to something like, yes, you'll march, or maybe you'll come decorate the float. Anyhow.
I'll send the paper around.
Okay. Now 10 o'clock is Frankfurt takeoff, and they will, when you get there, just get rid of your car somewhere in that lot or at the Prevost parking lot, somewhere around there. There's parking around, and then there'll be people, telling you where to go, and there'll be people telling you number 34, and we go there, and then you'll find us because it'll be a big trailer, Jim Sheets's trailer, pulled by Steve Thompson's truck. And then in Beulah, then after that, you get out of there and you race home and
Drink cold water.
and you lie down for a short nap. And then you race back into Beulah, or however you want to do it, go to Beulah and have lunch. Then you line up at the government center. That parade is, it's either 1 or 1:30. 1:30? 1:30. Are we sure?
We should be there by 1.
Yeah, okay. And again, somebody will give you a number, tell you where we're going. You can park up, how to go up there and park. And that one is shorter normally and hotter normally, but we never know about the weather. So what else do you need to know? We usually, we'll have these cold drinks, but how are we going to, we might put a few of them into Steve's truck if you need something in the middle of all that. We have people signed up to give out cute little, what are they giving out this year? Pens? Candy. We have tons of candy. I'm just going to say it now, but I'll have to say it a lot of times again. We're not allowed to toss the candy. So that's why we have givers of candy. They walk over to the little kids and give them the candy. Or if they toss, they have to toss off the parade route, off the road, not on the road. It's preferable to give it to the
We
kids.
have a number of people who will be specific candy
Right.
hander-outers, and we'll put
Right.
it right. And the kids have bags now. They know that.
I think they know
Yeah.
about that.
It's like trick or treat. They have
Yeah.
bags. Okay, let's hear from Mike. Are you good, Susan? Yes, I think so. Okay, Mike, you're gonna. Right, and put it in the chat if you are on Zoom and you want to sign up for the parade. Put your name and parade in chat. And if you'd like to help decorate, put that in the chat. And Mike is going to tell us about songs.
Yes, this year we're having live singing back. We did not have that last year, and it was great last year, but things move along, and so we're having patriotic singing by patriotic Democrats, and we're taking this back. So we'll have about 4 or 5 songs that we will rotate through the parade, probably in just about the same order. But we have 2 times scheduled to practice, and they will be short. The first one, these could go in the chat too. The first practice is on Monday, July 26th here.
June 26th.
June 26th. Thank you. Monday, June 26th, here at Benzie Dems headquarters at 4 p.m. until probably about 5, Then there might be some refreshments after that, who knows. But then on Friday, June 30th, the same schedule, here at 4 p.m. until about 5. And just to brush up, getting the right key and all that. And our fearless song leader, Dave Johnson, is going to be here to help organize that. It always takes us a little time to figure out where everybody's voices are and that kind of thing. And if you would please try to attend one of those, it just helps us get on the same page. I will be playing guitar, and probably Marley is probably calling me tomorrow to find out about practice. But anyway, we'll be there, and anybody else that wants to come and play guitar is welcome to do that. We could use another one too, whatever. The trailer's big, right? Big, okay.
Big.
We need lots of singers. It isn't about how good your voice is, it's about numbers. And we got complaints last year that
We had too many.
we had too many
us.
people in the parade. We want to hear that again.
Yeah, complaints
Yeah,
from people
somebody complained about that. But
who are on the other side. June 30th. Okay, let's, thank you, Mike.
okay.
Let's move on to Mary is going to talk to us about deep canvassing, which some of us took that training recently, and there is more training to be had. So Mary is on Zoom, and I believe she can talk to us now.
There. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay, great. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, canvassing is a core element of what is called a field plan, or in politics we call the ground game. And it involves going house to house to secure votes or opinions. And normally one goes to the house and goes quickly, in and out, takes no more than 5 minutes, and you keep on going. Deep canvassing is a technique that has evolved over some time, that has been shown that takes a longer time. It takes about 15 or 20 minutes at the door. It evolved to change minds through conversation and shared stories. It's not about debate. It's not about persuasion. It's learning about learning to listen to a person's personal stories, and changing their stories into actions. So in other words, the question is, if you feel that way, Why don't you go vote? So anyhow, we signed up for we wanted to learn the technique. It's being talked about in all these wonderful books that we're reading as being not only a successful tool to move minds on LGBTQ, immigration, those kinds of issues, but it turns out that it's very helpful in rural areas because people then get to know the dreaded Democrat and find out that we're really wonderful people that they can trust and to carry their water in Washington or wherever. So a bunch of us wanted to investigate more. We signed up at the Deep Canvassing Institute, and 6 of us, it's a 3-day training, 9 hours total. And the first was a little bit boring. The second got really good. And the third day was really fabulous. 6 of us are now certified in this method. And there are more trainings to be had. And I would encourage anybody who is even vaguely interested in having meaningful conversations that begin to help to change opinions, or just curious to know what it's all about, to please join in the next training. There are, it's going to be June 21st, is an introduction to deep canvassing, and it'll introduce you to the skills and what the series will look like. And then on July 18th, 19th, and 22nd, that's July 18th, 19th, and 22nd, is our next training. And I am just aware as I'm saying that's dovetailing with Betsy's fundraiser on the 22nd, but we will work this out. And Jim has signed up so that some of us can learn to train. So we may be doing our own training at home. But the most exciting thing, you guys, was we were sort of skeptical, like, oh my gosh, will this work? Can we do it? It works. Each one of us that did the phone, we did it on phones. We didn't do it on the doors. We changed, it really does move opinions. 10 is like, I'm totally in on immigration, and 1 is I'm not. With all of us who got to do it, it really works. So, and has tons of application in everyday life. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So Mary, will you put the dates in the chat as well as the name of the website, or something that people can Google to get to their website?
I will do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got word from the parking lot that we can now, the parking lot office, that we can now watch the video from the student. So Bill, if you're ready, that would be super. How do we know if Bill's ready?
Should social media be held accountable for mental health issues? That question may not be as straightforward as some people think. For one, social media has great benefits to society. Oftentimes, people can connect with friends and family from all over the world. But according to the McLean Mental Hospital, about 69% of adults and 81% of teenagers use social media. With that many people using it, there are bound to be issues. Social media can be harmful to users when they see updates on what everyone everywhere is doing. This can set a false standard for teenagers and people of all ages. Social media companies know about these issues, and they attempt some things to fix it, but really not enough. The company's goal is mainly to attract people to their apps to keep using the apps. They add notifications, likes, comments, shares, all to entice people to their apps. Social media is responsible for a large part of mental health issues, but it's also up to the users to determine how much the social media will affect them. So what can we do to help ourselves and other people with this? Well, we can, for one, go outside ourselves. Go do something with friends. We can also be careful on what we post and what we share. We want to make sure that whatever we share online will be beneficial to the people who may look at it. Together, we can make a big impact on the internet world as well as the real world. Thank you for watching.
Yeah, lovely. Susan, you're on. You're on. So yeah, I thought that was really lovely. I'm glad we all got to watch it. Okay, next up is Susan Wenslick, who last month told us about the nascent organizing that she was doing in collaboration with St. Philip's Church. And she to support the LGBTQ community in Benzie County. And so she's going to give us an update about that and more.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for asking me to come back. You may change your mind after I get done today, because I'm yammering on all afternoon. No, Kira gave me 8, and I'm not spending any more. So the last time I saw you was the day before our first meeting, just kind of to gauge what level of interest there was in Benzie County in supporting our LGBTQ neighbors. And we had 50 people at that first meeting. 50 people. Yeah, it was amazing. And I was just overwhelmed. So we had people give us feedback on what challenges were in the county for them. And I mean, I was there as the parent of a transgender woman. We had Corey Bissell, who owns the Kilwins in Frankfurt, speaking about what it's like to be a gay man in the county and having come out in high school. And we had pretty broad representation of people from, all from the west side of the county, the east side of the county. So it was very cool. The priorities that people chose as challenges that we needed to address, and then we also talked about what some of the solutions would be. There were everything kind of fell into 3 categories: safety, education, and visibility. And so we're starting to work on that list. The thing that was really clear coming out of the meeting is that people in this county feel really vulnerable. People don't feel safe here. And so we are going to create a website with resources, some educational material. We are marching in the July 4th parade, so if you're not marching with the Dems, come and march with me. I heard they had too many people marching last year, so come and march with me instead. We have a logo. Actually, I should tell you, we have a name. That's okay, got it? All right, we chose a name too. So we are now the Benzie Area Pride Network. Yeah, yep, we had a meeting where people got to put in their ideas and comments for a name, and we got it down. We ended up with an almost 4-way tie, and then we got it down to 2-way tie, and then I did the tie-breaking vote. So anyway, we're gonna march in the July 4th parade, both of them. I have a banner ordered, so we have a logo with our name on it. Come and march with me if you're not gonna march with all those Democrats. Pardon me? Well, yes, the other Democrats, true that. We are holding a picnic in July, just a potluck in a place that is safe, and it's not going to be open to the public. It's kind of our little core group to get people to learn about each other, know each other. One of the really interesting comments that came from one of the youth in the group was, I mean, I had kind of pictured this as we'll have a group of youth, we'll have a group of parents, we'll have a group of advocates. And one of the students said, I don't want to be with just other kids. I want it to be intergenerational because I need role models. I need mentors to help me go through this process. So we're just having a get together for all people in the group to come and hang out, and it'll be sort of off the beaten path. And yeah, so I'm really excited about that. We're going to start doing school board meetings and talking to school boards about making schools more welcoming. Bathroom issues came up, of course, and especially in schools. We're doing some media outreach. I'm starting to work on our website. We have a group member who has offered to set up our Facebook page for us, so that'll get set up pretty soon. We're thinking about doing yard signs, like you've probably seen the Up North Pride yard signs. And so we're thinking about getting some funding to make those. And one of the other comments that came up, again, especially from the kids at the first meeting, was, I don't know what businesses are safe for me to go into where I'm going to be treated with respect. And so I'm thinking about, because downtown it's hard to put a sign up, the plastic yard signs. So I'm thinking about some of the window clings, and we can put them in cars, we can put them in store windows. So those are things on the list. Also, very good news, conversion therapy ban was passed by the legislature last week. So conversion therapy is no longer legal in Michigan. Sad news, though, I will share with you, we did lose a member of the Northern Michigan transgender community this week, a 44-year-old woman named Roxanne Jeffers from Fife Lake. And the reason that I am bringing this up today, first, if you are inclined to pray for a stranger, as Josh White Jr. would sing, please pray for Roxanne and her daughters. Roxanne is a transgender woman, but her family, when they published her obituary, did not use her trans name or her gender. So that suggests to me that her family didn't respect her choice, if it is considered a choice. I'm not sure that it is, but that her family didn't respect her enough to use her chosen name and her chosen gender. So her obituary will not say Roxanne Jeffers. So please, as I said, if you are inclined to pray for a stranger, say a prayer for Roxanne and her kids. We had a question, or I had a question at the last meeting, and I will use this for another educational opportunity. Somebody asked about surgery for transgender people. And there happened to be in this week's New York Times, if you are a Times reader, a really good editorial that I will suggest going back and reading. It was about how LGBTQ people are now American political refugees. But the article cited a couple of interesting statistics. One was that only 16% of people get body affirming surgery. In other words, surgery to change their bodily appearance to the gender that they are choosing. Only 31% use hormone treatments. And the reason for that is it's expensive, and no health insurance company that I know of covers this. It's considered elective surgery. So if, when you see a transgender person, it's not really considered polite to ask them about, whether they've had surgery. But, you can probably assume with only 16% of trans people who get surgery that they have not gotten surgery. So that is all my news on LGBTQ stuff. Kira and Jim also are allowing me a few minutes to talk about my day job, which is working on housing, blight elimination, and environmental cleanup issues. I'm a consultant, and I've been working a lot in Benzie County on blight elimination. Also, I've worked a little bit with Leelanau County, Manistee County. So I'm going to update you real quickly on money. Right now, there is a fire hose in Lansing, and it's shooting money out, ARPA money. And housing, of course, is the flavor of the week. And one of the things that is contributing to housing funding is a blight elimination grant. So every county in the state, and I'm going to try not to go in the weeds on this, and if you want weeds, we can talk after. But every county got a certain amount of money for blight elimination grants from the State Land Bank Authority. In Benzie County, we have a land bank, and we are also getting an additional $500,000. So we will have a total guaranteed in Benzie County of $700,000 for blight elimination. This is fantastic. So, so far, we have used our funding, or are using our funding, for the demolition of the old Lions Club in Frankfurt. That's going to come down starting in the next, probably the week after next. We have to get permits all lined up. So the old Lions Club is going to be demolished, and that piece of property will be used by Homestretch for new apartments, and they'll be very similar to the apartments in Honor. And if you don't know where the Lions Club is, it's right across the street from the Graceland Fruit parking lot where we are meeting for the parade. So it's right on the corner of Lake and Main. And right now there's an old Lions Club truck parked there. So that's a really cool project. We have 2 abandoned homes in Thompsonville that will be demolished and redeveloped by Habitat for Humanity. And Habitat's interested in, I know, 2 other sites in Thompsonville, so there would be 4 new Habitat homes in Thompsonville. Let's see, Homestretch, which is doing the Frankfurt project, the Lake and Main project, also got money from the other fire hose besides the land bank. MISTA, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, has a grant program going for missing middle housing. And Homestretch was able to get, I can't remember how much I meant to check before today and I forgot, but it's $70,000 per unit of housing. So Homestretch got a really nice grant from MISTA for helping to defray the construction costs of those apartments. We are waiting to hear, we applied and are waiting to hear on blight elimination grants to renovate Benzonia High School into another location of the distillery that's in Alberta. And we asked for money for a roof and for their acquisition costs. And I mean, you've seen that building, holy cats. They have $275,000 for asbestos and lead abatement alone. Pardon me? Oh, I'm sorry. Benzonia High School is just to the, if you're coming from Frankfurt, just to the left of the stoplight, the one stoplight in the county. So on 31 in Benzonia, right just off the light. So yeah, hideous looking building and so we applied for money to purchase and replace the roof. We're also waiting to hear on demolition of the Honor Elementary School. That was our other application in the last round. And that would be coming down for eventual use as the Benzie County Road Commission, not for housing. 500,000, I mentioned we get $500,000. That money, this is again back from the blight elimination program, can only be used for housing for people who are 80% of the area median income or below. And here our area median income is pretty high. It's like 68,000. So basically it's housing for people who are making around $60,000 or less, 55, something like that. So that will be another $500,000 that we can spend on renovations and acquisition of property that we can then give to the land trust or to Habitat or to Homestretch to build more housing. Yeah, so we've got some good stuff going on. Last thing, there's 4 new Frankfurt area community land trust homes. 2 of them are up, and those are on, gosh, Grove Place, which is kind of behind, if you look, I have so bad, I'm so bad at directions. So if you look behind the not Dairy Queen, the A&W in Frankfurt, kind of behind there, there's 2 new houses being built between that and between the A&W and the apartments that are back there. Those 2 new homes are panelized homes that are being built by the Frankfurt Area Community Land Trust. We also got grant funding for those 2 plus 2 more that will be built starting in the fall. That's also from the MISTA, Missing Middle Grant program. And we got $70,000 per home for those 4 homes also. So we've got lots of state money coming into the county, yay. And a lot of it is going for housing and blight elimination. So if I have any time left, we can do questions. And if not, I'll be here till the end of the meeting.
Just one question then, but we need to get a microphone because we are running late.
I guess what my question is Michael Hertz puts these blasts out. He did it like a week or so ago, and it was actually the Benzie paper, if I have it here, and it came out on Wednesday, which was on the Great Schools Initiative. Are you familiar with that? Which is very interesting because basically it's from downstate.
As is everything.
3 people from Walled Lake started this, and they hand out these brochures. It's supposedly this official organization, and it's really not. Then they claim to be a nonprofit, and they're really not. But now they're being affiliated with the Thomas More Society, who's supporting them, yes. But the interesting thing is they came to Benzie County and questioned them, and the superintendent talks in here about she responded to them, which why she's giving them credibility in the first place bothers me. That's what really got to me. So it was basically a question in the sex class about abortion?
I did read that, yep.
Okay, well, these people are, first off, I've got 2 articles, one written on 1/13/23 from the LGBTQ group and how bad these people are. And I have another one on the education group from February. People should read this. But she responded. So I actually emailed Dana Nessel with some questions, which is here. I wish I would have even given better questions, and I got a letter of response from Dana Nessel. So I have all of this information I could take to read all this. You don't have time.
No, we don't.
But
No.
I want the group to be aware of this, and this came into Benzie County.
Yeah.
This is what, and that really bothered me.
Well, yeah, we can expect to see that, and we have seen that. But thank you for taking that up and getting some communication going. And
I'll
people,
give you all this information.
okay,
and
and
I
people
give it
can
to you,
talk
but-
to you afterwards if they're specifically interested.
Okay.
That would be great.
Thank
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Susan, for so much. Barry, are you on our Zoom? We just want a 1-minute update.
First of all, I'm offended that you're telling me I can only have a minute.
I know, but
okay.
you can only have a minute. This is about the
That's all right. I hear it
Thompson.
all the time, every day. Okay.
You're using up that
Hey,
minute, Big Ray.
Lindsay asked me to go over Monday, June 19th, our first pop-up. That's a couple days from now. Next one's Thursday, July 6th, in Alberta, and we need some volunteers for that. I put in for, wait, no, we've got that covered. Never mind. Saturday, August 5th, we need volunteers, and I already put it in the chat, and I'm going to put it in the chat again. So sign up to work in downtown Beulah at the Sidewalk Sales Day, because it's awesome, and we need you for pop-ups. How's that?
That's really good. Thank you so
Thanks.
much. Okay, we're going to
Woo! All right, I'm done for the day. Goodbye.
put it in the chat. Put it in the chat.
It's going in the chat right now.
Okay, so our parking lot office is going to play the Callie Barr video as a way of introducing her. I won't say anything more because we're of course running late. What's new? But we have to unseat Jack Bergman, and Callie Barr might just be the person to do it. So.
This day changed a lot of people's lives forever. Mine was one of them. My name is Callie Barr, and on September 11th, 2001, my future husband called the Marine Corps recruiter after watching the terrorist attacks on TV. It would start us on a journey that would take him all over the world and me all across the country. We moved 5 times in 15 years. But Northern Michigan would always be home. I was raised in Traverse City and Sheboygan. Our Michigan roots run 5 generations deep. I grew up like a lot of folks here, not fancy, but humble. My mom was a nurse and my dad worked at the local bank. My family fished and hunted and we worked hard. I worked summers at the Interlochen Camp store, I cleaned bathrooms at the county fair, and I waitressed at the boathouse. I ran track, I played basketball and volleyball, and my parents still brag that I was Sheboygan High School's valedictorian. I married my high school sweetheart, and I looked forward to getting my teaching degree. Our lives would have been different if it hadn't been for September 11th. After his enlistment, Matt deployed to Iraq. And in Fallujah, he fought in one of the bloodiest battles of the war. Many of our friends were killed or injured. And when Matt came home, we found out that he had a traumatic brain injury from Iraq. Getting him the help that he needed was hard, and watching him suffer was even harder. And so I decided to work for Blue Star Families to give voice to service members who were struggling with post-traumatic stress and traumatic brain injury and their families. It became my mission. But what I found out was that policy and decision makers often didn't take me seriously. And I don't know if it was because I was a mom or just a military spouse, but it motivated me to do something years earlier I wouldn't have thought possible. I went to law school. And it wasn't hard to spot me in a lecture hall with a 2-year-old on my hip and a 5-year-old in hand. But 3 years later, I graduated from the University of Michigan Law School with honors. Go Blue. Since then, I've been working at one of Michigan's top law firms, and I've used my law degree to help veterans get free legal services. But now it's time for my next mission. I'm running for Congress because the people of Northern Michigan deserve a voice and a representative that actually listens to that voice. Someone who's from here, and someone who can fix people's problems because they've actually lived them. I have stretched a household budget, I have stressed about childcare, and I'm still paying off my student loans. More than anything, I want you to know this. I will show up for you. I will fight for you, and I will put in the work to make our lives better. I will never forget where I came from or who I'm fighting for.
I'm not sure what more you can say after that. Such a great video, but
Thank you very much. Oh, okay, I have to sit. All right. Thank you so much for having me. As a congressional candidate, you know that all the work that you do is built off everything that's been done and everything that you're doing today. And so I'm so appreciative to be a part of the work that you're doing. And I just want to say thank you for that. This tells my story. Matt and I grew up in this area, and Matt's back here. He's wearing the name tag that says the husband. And both our families do go way back in the Sheboygan area. My great grandma used to teach at a one-room schoolhouse there. My grandpa was a superintendent, Sheboygan area schools, and my sister used to work at Joanne's Fudge. She'd get tourists who would ask, when does the bridge swing from the island over to the, from the Upper Peninsula over to the island? She got so sick of the question, she started just giving a date and a time. Thursdays at 3, show up, you'll see it. Yeah. And Matt, his family, we had fun with ancestry because his family goes way back. We actually found that he had ancestors that were stationed on Mackinac Island in the 1800s. So of course, when we started dating, we had to check the family trees, right? Are we related? But no. So, and when Jack Bergman in this district to us this race is very personal. As we know, he runs very strongly on his military platform, and he used that to undermine our democracy and to not certify our elections. And Matt and I, in our experience and in the Marine Corps, we gave a lot, as many of us have, in this idea of something so much bigger than ourselves, and this idea of a democracy. And, we'll never forget, we had a person who was close to us who was killed in Iraq, and hours after learning of his father's death, a little 11-year-old boy wrote a sign in his handwriting that said, "Be a leader, not a follower." And he put that on his door. And to us, that's a mandate. It's to be a leader and not a follower. And right now, our democracy needs us. And 2024 is an important election. We have a former president who's been indicted. I don't know if he's going to try to run a campaign from jail, but it wouldn't surprise me. We have people's rights that are on the line, right? So supporting our democracy right now, it matters, and Michigan matters.
We know that Michigan's going to have a lot of attention. We have a Senate race and we have a presidential race. So coming out, and when I look at this congressional campaign, it's about getting Jack Bergman out. It's also about supporting these races on our ballot. That's important. And for us, a focus, of course, too, is the supporting our working class, which is really looking at our economy. Folks right here are struggling. It's the costs, right? Bringing down costs. And when we look at the economy, of course, it's, you know, we look at education and training, infrastructure, innovation and entrepreneurship, fair taxation, and our social safety nets. We have an older voting population. We also have an older population that depends on things like Medicare and Social Security. We need to make sure that people have these things. They're lifelines. I just moved my grandma. She's up in Sheboygan, you know, to the Brook. It's a assisted living up there, right? Because it's hard to age in place where we live. I mean, we've got rural concerns with access to healthcare and telehealth, and it'd be great to have telehealth, but what do we have to have for that? Great internet, great internet. We're also at a time where we're looking ahead at the technologies that we have. And well, it's great, you know, we're looking at moving towards clean energy, electric vehicles. There's anxiety with folks, reasonable anxiety about, well, if I'm driving in the UP, and I know Matt and I are doing a lot of this, where do I charge my electronic vehicle, right? And we can't be left behind, not the way we were with the internet, right? I mean, there are some doctor's appointments that you can't go to until you check in on your phone, right? And so this is really important that we're paying attention to this. So, you know, when we look at this race, what we're looking at is we've got, and I want to remind everyone too, this area was represented by Bart Stupek for about 2 decades. This is an area that went blue for Obama in 2008. These people haven't gone anywhere. And so we need to remember that. And we have, you know, about 40%, probably solid Republican identifying voters, 38 Democrat, and 22% independent. And when I'm out talking to folks, what I can tell you is that there are a lot of people who just are so sick of extremist politicians. They know it's leaving their families behind, and they want change. So and now's time, right? And we see this in Traverse City, we see it in Marquette. You know, we've been able to send Betsy Kofia and Jen Hill, which is great. Here, we have not had a woman nominee for either major party, Republican or Democrat, ever. So it's time. It's time. And we know too that where you can create great contrast with an incumbent, it really forces voters to make a choice. And so we know that. And also as a mom, you know, we care about the future of our children. And I think that that's a message that, you know, when you come from an area like this, you can get people to listen because they know you're a mom and you care about the future of their kids just as much as you care about the future with your kids. And I can tell you, coming from a rural area, it matters when you're building trust in these communities. You know, Matt and I, when we launched our campaign and launched the video, we just wanted people to see us for who we are. And that was very successful. We had a lot of people who just said, okay, we're on board, you know, or we had folks that came and donated, and then like a week later called and said, wait, what ticket are you on? Said, well, we're, you know, Democrat. Then they said, we're just quiet silence. And I said, well, you can't have your money back. And they said, no, I trust you. I know your grandma, so I know that you're gonna do good things for our families. I know you care, right? And because we've worked in these communities, we've lived here, we've prayed here, we've worked hard, right? I mean, and so that matters. So, you know, I'm excited about this race, and we launched April 6th. We got our first national endorsement just a couple weeks ago from New Politics. So they're a group that
supports candidates with a history of service who support democracy. Yay! Of course, when we got our endorsement, I thought, well, shouldn't this be every candidate? I can't, right? Right? But we're really proud of that, and they are a bipartisan group. So when we reached out to them, they first had to say, well, you're running against Jack Bergman. He's a retired general. We got to look at that. And I said, well, you don't have to look too far. They agreed. He doesn't show up. He doesn't show up, and that's a message that resonates no matter who you are. He doesn't show up. I think he's aware of our race. We've had some radio ads just recently. When we announced our campaign, we were in the Detroit News. He came out with a comment, which is probably more work that he's done in the past 4 years than anything else. And I recently got a postcard in the mail from him. So I said, well, you know why you send postcards? When you're on vacation. So thank you. But truly, I mean, he hasn't been around. He hasn't done good things for Michigan and for this district. Of course, voting against infrastructure and money for broadband and for our rural areas and the SULOCs, thanked Debbie Stabenoff for her work there, even though he voted against it. So much of this is letting folks know, because we think people know because we know, but I don't think that's the case. So a lot of that is having the resources to get your message out. It's just a reality, and it's super important. So we've been working hard. We've already raised over $100,000, which is great. I have candidates downstate calling me and asking, how are you doing this? It says, because we're passionate about it and we're ready. And he needs to get out. He's a danger to our democracy. So we're keeping the ball rolling in that direction. And also, we have an older voting population here, and so getting on TV is very important, and it's expensive, but we have to do it. And the radio, we drive a lot. We know we're on the radio, and targeted mailing. And so we're looking at being very strategic in how we do this and getting out the vote. So, and I actually modeled on the last presidential election, our modeled Democrat Republican was actually pretty split. We just had way more Republicans who came out to vote. And so it's also letting people know it matters. It matters. We can't be defeatist. We have to know it matters, and you got to come out and we got to vote. And that's where we all have great impact in letting people know it matters. So, would love to have your support. Of course, I've got a sign-up sheet over there if you want to help or volunteer. Contribute to the cause, that's great. Like I said, we need those for 2024, the resources, and happy to answer any questions you have, but I'll also say I brought my notebook because I learn a lot when I meet with folks, and that's important because running in these areas, it's important to know about local issues. And so I appreciate your expertise. I appreciate what you know, and so let me know what I need to know too. I think that's really helpful.
And Callie, thank you, but I'm going to give you this other mic because we've been told that the battery's dying on that one.
Oh, okay.
So we want to make sure everybody hears you. Also, too, we are having some problems. I'm having some problems with the chat. So I can't really see any questions. So it's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just I can't see them. So I don't know why.
Okay, I got the good one now. We got the good one.
So,
Yeah.
questions?
Yeah, that might not work, so you might have to search.
I can shout, but somebody out there wave if you can hear me. Barb Screwdall, do you
It's
hear me?
working. We can
Okay,
hear you.
cool, we're
Yes,
good.
we can hear you.
Love what you're saying. Love how articulate you are. All of this great stuff. And I think it's excellent to be contrasting yourself to Jack Bergman, but we have a decision to make before that. I know you and Bob Lawrence are both family people. He comes from a different background. The values are there, all those same democratic values. So the tough question, how would you separate yourself for our primary decision making?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I know we were all very hopeful last cycle.
and I know we were too, supported Dr. Bob in that race. What I can tell you is, first, it is very important that you're able to get your message out there. Dr. Bob's campaign was able to raise about $500,000 total last cycle. That's what we did in Traverse City alone for the state rep race. And I think, he was 30, these are all just public FEC filings, so you can look at this yourself. Was still 10 grand in debt even after the first quarter for this year, for this race. And so that's hard to come back with. And it's just vitally important in order to get your message out. I have called some folks because I'm doing a lot of, so it's, I didn't fully appreciate when you run for Congress that, you're doing a lot of call time. I've spoken to some of you on my calls, I know. I say I'm a telemarketer for democracy right now. But I have called folks that don't know, they think the last Democrat to run up here was Matt Morgan. So that's important. And we're putting in the hard work to do that, which it is. It can be humbling and you have to be vulnerable and all those things. You get, people are glad to hear from you. People hang up right away and you just got to keep going. I think the other thing is too, it's again, the contrast where you can find areas of great contrast can make movement with voters. And I think as a woman and as a mom, I think that's something that independent voters are ready for. And I think that's exciting for people. And we've seen that just as we go around in our community, that people are excited about that idea. And it would be a first. And I think people get excited about having a first and having representation. I can also tell you, as an attorney and as a litigator, I am ready to tell Jack Bergman exactly the decisions he made and why those were not good decisions for our community. And I know too, just as an attorney, you know where your expertise hopefully stops and ends, and then you make sure that you reach out and you get the knowledge that you need to make good decisions and negotiate. That's something that I've done, and that's important in Congress, and especially in a Congress right now that seems like it can't even function, right? You have to be able to make movement where you can. And I think that's really important. We have a bipartisan problem-solving caucus right now. Very cool. That's very neat. Would love to be a part of that. So I think these are definitely things that will help us reach voters and reach people to come out. And that's important. It's important in this election. And also our military background. We come from, Matt was enlisted in the Marine Corps, which is a different story than being an officer in the Marine Corps. It's a very different experience. It's a very working class experience. And no one has brought that yet to Bergman, right? You're not gonna say with the debt ceiling that we're not gonna adequately fund the VA if you need it, right? We depend on it for Matt's care. We have to have the VA. It has to be funded. Our friends depend on that. And as a general, his experience is very different from ours. I can tell you that. We've had friends that show up to the VA and they, their mental health care appointment, they got to wait 3 months, 6 months. He shows up as a general to the VA and it's like, here's your fan and glass of lemonade, right? So that's a different experience. And one that, as a woman, I can talk about what it's like to be on the other side of care, right? And what it means to have to care and be a family that's been affected by 15, 20 years of war in this country. Yes. Oh, okay. I'm liking the shirt and the bandana or the hat.
Hi, Callie.
Hi.
Thank you, first of all, for being here this morning with all of us. And let you know, I'm Reverend Stephen B. Thompson. I'm local director of Benzie County Normal, National Organization for Reform of Marijuana Laws. And I'm also the retired executive director of Michigan Normal. I have 2 quick questions for you. One is related to cannabis, one is not. The first question is that if you are elected as our representative, will you co-sponsor and support any legislation that will help us to finally end federal prohibition of cannabis by removing it from the drug schedule completely. And then question number 2 is that if you are elected as our representative, will you make it one of your top priorities to help us finally get Native American Leonard Peltier out of federal prison and home to his family before he dies?
Yeah, no, I would, well, first for the second question that you had, I would like to know more about that. And I can tell you that I'm not aware of that story. And so I'd like to learn about that from you. Thank you. Yeah, I would appreciate that. Thank you very much. And as far as cannabis goes, you know, I know, and just personally from veterans who have really benefited medically from being able to use cannabis as, you know, medically. And I think too, you know, what we have now where we have states that have legalized, states that are not legalized, and then federally where we're not, it's a mess. And that needs to be definitely looked at. And yeah, I agree. We need to reschedule that. And when you look at the history of it too, I mean, I think part of it is right now too, because we classified, it's actually part of a treaty, an international treaty, the way that cannabis is scheduled. And so that's part of the issue we come up against when we look at scheduling that drug. It's, and I forget the name of the treaty, but it's a treaty we have with Canada and I believe even South America. And so that's the issue we run up against, but it's not something that we can't look seriously at rescheduling. Absolutely.
Okay, one last question. Two last questions.
Okay.
Or making legal. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Take it off, right?
My name is Cliff Van Dyke. I spent 40 years in the banking industry. I get so upset at the neoconservatives and the military-industrial complex that's pursuing this war in Ukraine, which was completely unnecessary, and it's a case of unfortunately our democratic administrations expanded NATO in the face of repeated promises not to do so. So certainly Putin is responsible for starting the war, but we're responsible for pushing him into a pushing NATO in closer to Russia. And of course, there's just a few people who write about this and who really understand it. Jeffrey Sachs, who is a well-known economist and a commentator worldwide, and John Mearsheimer, University of Chicago, and Noam Chomsky, MIT, and of course Michael Moore, and Robert Reich. But when I talk to my circle of friends, they just don't get it. And I'll never forget Bob
Cliff,
McNamara.
Is there a question in there?
The question is, why is the Democratic Party following Biden on this neoconservative military-industrial complex that he's bought into?
Well, let's see if Callie can answer for Joe Biden.
No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, I can't speak for the whole of the Democratic Party for sure.
Well, can you speak for yourself?
Yeah, I think, oh, sorry. I think too, when we look at this more broadly, and especially in Ukraine, there are also issues where folks are aware that China, for instance, is also watching what we do in Ukraine if we support that, and with Russia invading, because they're also looking at Taiwan. And so I think that there's also a national security element there that the administration is likely considering when they look at, supporting democracies like Ukraine when they're under attack.
The whole point is that the U.S. has 4% of the world's population, and we're trying to run the world. And that is crazy.
I think there's a difference, yeah, and I think though there is a difference too between understanding we do live in a global economy now, in a global world. We are interconnected now in ways that we never have been before. And so we have to also be really cognizant of that. And we saw that in COVID, right? We saw our dependence on, we had dependence on China and our vaccines and PPE gear and all of that. So it's these are not isolated incidents because of the world that we live in today. And I will say too that China is something that we need to be very cognizant of and aware of. And especially now as we are moving in our technology, and especially when we look at AI and where that's going. It's a complete surveillance state there. It's terrifying, right?
Do we have that last question?
Hi.
Quickly?
Two quick ones. As a female candidate, are you doing anything to reach out to Emily's List and to get funding from Emily's List? That's a yes or no.
Yes.
Okay. And my second question is, are you finding that because of the overturn of Roe v. Wade, that the abortion question that was so strongly an issue in the UP, and I think that Bart Stupak spoke to that in his way, are you finding that that is less of an issue for you right now? Are you getting more people that were pro-choice strongly who are now more moderate on that issue?
That's a good question. Right now, I think, I actually think that when Roe v. Wade fell, it scared a lot of women, regardless of where they are in the political spectrum, because it was a protection. I have not really heard much when I go around from outside of party meetings, right? I mean, in party meetings, yes, I think it's a question we hear a lot. And I do still think it's important, right? I mean, but in our Michigan Constitution, it's here now. It's not going anywhere, so that's great. I mean, we have that right. But I'll get back to you as I keep traveling and talking to folks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to have you. Really pleasure to have you.
The gentleman back there with the
Steve Thompson.
Was it with the rainbow?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Reverend
Is he
Steve.
still here? Oh. Oh, okay. I just wanted to clarify. I was saying reschedule, and I wanted to just clarify with him that I am for safely legalizing marijuana. There's a lot of research that's being done right now, and I know I said reclassify, and that's different. So I recognize that.
That's great. That's great. We don't want a lot. No emails, please. Okay. Well, everybody, thanks so much for coming, and
I'll still be around.
yeah, Callie will stay for a bit to talk more with individuals, but we need to get up and move about. So thanks again. And there won't be a meeting in July, but you will all be coming, I'm sure, to Betsy Kofia's fundraiser in July. Okay. And the parade before that. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, you guys. Great meeting.
Thanks, Bill, for helping out, keeping us on.
Thank you all. Great meeting.
And don't forget to sign up for a pop-up.